Millie? Are you there? I just wanted to thank you for today. I know I've been keeping you waiting for a long time, but I just wanted to thank you for your patience and for agreeing to marry me.
No, Arnie, thank you so much. You have no idea how long I had been waiting for this. I was so happy when you got down on one knee for me and asked if I would marry you. I can't tell you how many times I had pictured you doing that exact same thing in my head.
I know, I can't believe that we're finally engaged now. We started dating when we were both 23 years old, and it's been 7 happy years together with you.
I know that this doesn't mean that things are going to be perfect between us from now on. I'm sure that there are going to be plenty of challenges that we'll have to go through from here on out. But I'm just happy that we'll be going through them together.
I know what you mean, Millie. I really am so happy about how things went.
I know. This was a perfect day, and I'm so grateful to have someone like you in my life, Arnie.
By the way, how exactly do you think we should go about making the announcement to my dad? And your dad, for that matter. I guess there's a lot of people we're going to have to make calls to now. And given that both of our dads work in the same company, they basically see each other every single day. Maybe we should just go see them at work and tell them both at the same time.
Yeah, I was also wondering about what the best way to go about doing that would be. But I think that might be a nice way to get 2 birds with 1 stone.
So, then you just want to go to their office tomorrow when we can tell them then?
I really think that any time would work for me. I don't think I have anything going on tomorrow. So as long as we find a time that works for all 4 of us, it shouldn't be a problem.
Great. In that case, I'll ask my dad when he thinks would be a good time to go over and be able to talk to the 2 of them at the same time. When he gets back to me, I'll let you know what he said, and we can decide our plan.
Sounds good to me. Thank you for doing that, Arnie. I appreciate you asking about that. Also, speaking of telling people about our engagement, have you put any thought into how we should go about telling your mom?
I've actually been trying specifically not to think about that, if I could be perfectly honest with you.
Well, it's not like I can't understand why. I mean, when we first started dating, she was always telling you to break up with me since my dad was a single father. I mean, we didn't even tell her that we were actually in a relationship until after your parents split up. But we were dating for a whole 4 years before that.
Yeah, I mean, I think my mom actually still isn't sure whether or not we're still dating. Although, judging from some of the things she says, I'm not sure she knows that we are. I think maybe she didn't really understand when we tried to tell her that we were dating because she was so wrapped up in the divorce and all that.
Right. Well, now that we've come this far, I wonder how she's going to react hearing that we are in fact dating each other right now. More than that, we've just gotten engaged. It's going to be a shock to her.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll have to think of a way that we can tell her about it without giving her too much of a surprise.
Do you think something like that is even going to be possible?
Well, it's been about 4 years since her and my dad have gotten a divorce. And the last time that I talked to her was after that happened, to try and tell her we were still dating. But I haven't spoken with my mom since then. I mean, we're basically estranged if you think about it. To be perfectly honest, I was thinking that we really don't even have to invite her to the wedding if we don't want to. And I think my dad would probably agree with me on that one.
You really feel that way? Well, I guess you would know better than me since I've hardly interacted with her as well.
I know, that is one thing that I regret between us. I should have explained all of this more clearly to you. But I'm sure you can see why that was difficult for me after you met my mom.
Please don't beat yourself up about this at all, Arnie. I know that you were just thinking about my well-being and how I was going to interact with her. I really do appreciate you looking out for me.
Thank you for being so understanding. You don't know how lucky you make me feel to be with you. I really am so happy that we're engaged now. It really is like a dream come true, Millie.
I feel the exact same way. It's like I said, I know that we might have some challenges up ahead, but we'll get through them together.
I know that we will. Anyways, I'm going to talk to my dad and ask him what time he thinks we could go over to see him. I'll let you know what he says.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much for doing that, Arnie.
Arnie, are you there? You've got some serious explaining to do, young man. I happened to hear from a friend of mine the other day that you were going to be getting married today. What is the matter with you, son? Why wouldn't you tell me? Your own mother that this was going to be happening? Why am I having to find out through the grapevine and the day before it's happening? Well, lucky for you, I know how to act fast. I've already found a place that's willing to rent me a dress, but unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to make an appointment at the hair salon. But I have no idea just what you're thinking, trying to hold a wedding without your own mother there. Who ever heard of that happening? Anyways, I'm on my way to the wedding right now, so I'll see you soon. Hello there. I take it that this is the phone number for Millie, yes? I really have to say, I am just shocked to see you here at my son's wedding. I mean, just what on earth do you think you're doing here, huh? I thought you and my son broke up years ago. I have no idea why in the world Arnie would invite an ex to his wedding. But I want you to know that you seem to be acting awfully close with my son. I just want you to know that you better not be thinking of trying to flirt with him or anything like that. Because I am not going to have some little girl who was only raised by her father hanging around my perfect little boy. I told you years ago that you both needed to break up. And I haven't changed how I feel about since then. Do you understand me? I realize that a lot has changed since my days when men were worried about the age of their wife or if they were divorced before. But this is too much. You need to quit stalking my son and realize that you've already lost him, okay? It's over. So just leave him alone and let him get married. So you thought you could just ignore the messages that I was sending you, huh? Well, I didn't go through the trouble of hunting down your number just to be ignored. Just remember that you forced me to take things into my own hands, got it?
I was wondering who it was that came up behind me, grabbed me by my collar, and started dragging me out of the venue. And lo and behold, when I turned around, it was you. I didn't even think that you were invited to the wedding in the first place, isn't that right?
You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm Arnie's mother, of course I'm invited. I just have a right to be here. But as for you, I want to know just what you think you're doing here. Don't you know that Arnie ended things with you a long time ago? I want to know what you're doing here.
What am I doing here? Did you? Seriously, just ask me that? I think that I'm here for my wedding day, thank you very much.
What on earth are you talking about? You think that you're going to marry my son? You're just his creepy little stalker. You must really be crazy if you think that this wedding here today has anything to do with you. At all. Don't you realize that Arnie is here to get married to his real bride? You need to learn your place and leave him alone.
Learn my place? How's this for my place? You do know that I'm Arnie's boss, don't you?
What do you mean by that? His boss of what? What are you going on about now, you delusional woman?
Look, I am going to go back into that venue and I am going to get married. But you were never even invited here in the first place.
But that can't be right. I'm Arnie's mother. Of course I'm welcome to be here.
No, you're not. Arnie didn't invite you and you two haven't even spoken in years. Don't you get it?
What are you saying? That he's cut me out of his life or something like that?
Arnie, are you there? I think we have to talk about something really quickly.
Millie! I was wondering when I was going to hear from you. Are you okay? What happened? I was just stepping out to get some stuff from the car while helping to set up, and I noticed that my mom started sending me some messages. She said something about how she was going to force her way into the wedding if it was the last thing she does. Have you seen her around here?
Oh, I've done more than just see her. We had a little altercation, actually.
You mean you and her bumped into each other? That's crazy! What happened?
Well, after you stepped out, she barged her way into the building and grabbed me by my collar out of the venue. She grabbed my collar and my wrist, and I think she really hurt my right hand. Thankfully, I'm left-handed, but still, I'm not happy to be getting married after suffering an injury from your mom. But thankfully, one of the friends who was helping us decorate is a doctor, and he looked at it. He said it isn't serious, and it shouldn't cause any serious problems for us.
Got it. Well, that's really good to hear, but if my mom is here, then I'm going to try and find my dad so we can figure something out.
Please do. I'm sure this isn't going to be the last that you see of your mom today. So if you can handle her, that would be great.
Mom? What in the world do you think that you're doing here, huh? You've got some nerve showing your face around here.
Arnie, what a pleasant surprise. I was wondering when I was going to hear from you. But what do you mean, what am I doing here? I'm your mom and I'm here for your wedding.
But you weren't even invited in the first place. You know that, right?
What do you mean by that? I thought that was some kind of mistake or something.
No, it wasn't a mistake at all. I didn't invite you to my wedding, and we haven't even talked in years. I didn't even send you a wedding announcement, much less an invitation. Just how did you even figure out this was happening today? And more importantly, just what made you think that you were entitled to be here when you weren't invited and we haven't talked in forever?
But Arnie, please, you're being unreasonable.
I'm being unreasonable? You attacked my bride at a wedding you weren't even invited to. Just go home already.
Now you listen to me, son. Like it or not, I am your mother and I belong here.
We don't even have any preparations for you to just show up like this.
How could you do this to me? I thought that you broke up with that sad little girl. I told you that you were not going to be marrying someone raised by a single father.
And just who cares if she was raised by her dad? Why does that matter to you at all?
Because there is no way that a single father would know how to raise a girl well. Not to mention the fact that it probably means the two of them are poor.
And you actually out of your mom mind? First of all, Millie's father is a doctor.
Wait, what? Millie's father is a doctor?
That's right. He's a doctor who actually is a partner in several different clinics around town.
Wait, so he's a doctor and an entrepreneur.
Why are you pretending like you didn't know any of this? I know for a fact that I told you all of this when I first told you that Millie and I were dating.
Did you really tell me? I guess that I just don't remember is all.
Well, I did say so.
But I don't remember that. You can't be mad at me for that.
I don't know what I'm going to do with you, Mom. You're just such a prejudiced, judgmental person, and you never listen to anyone. Now look, Millie and I are going to be getting married tomorrow, and nothing is going to change that.
Arnie, don't you realize what you're doing?
Much better than you do, Mom. Much better than you do. Now do not interrupt our wedding again, or else.
Millie, are you there? We have seriously got to talk about something right now. I didn't believe you when you said it about Arnie, but are you really his boss? But more importantly than that, I was asking around and found out that you're my husband's boss as well?
Well, you two got a divorce 4 years ago, so I'm not sure if he's your husband anymore.
I didn't ask your thoughts about my relationship status. Just answer the questions. I didn't even know that he was even working for the same company that you were. So I want you to tell me why he's working with you and why he's working under you. Answer me right now!
Well, if you really must know, your husband's company went bankrupt 2 years ago.
Wait, you're telling me that my ex-husband's company went bankrupt 2 years ago?
That's literally what I just typed, yes. Anyways, I heard about that from Arnie and there just happened to be some openings in my company. So, I put in a good word for him, he went through the hiring process, and in the end he was placed in my department where I'm the supervisor. So yeah, I was able to give him a strong recommendation, and because I knew his skills, I knew that he would be a good fit for my department.
So that's it. It all makes sense now.
Sorry, what makes sense? I don't really trust that you know anything at all of what's going on.
I mean that in the background, it was always you.
Sorry, was that me? Literally, what are you talking about this time?
I mean that on the day of your wedding, when I dragged out of the venue, I told my husband that I wanted to be with him again. I told him that the only reason I said that Arnie couldn't marry you was because I was thinking about his happiness. I thought that if my ex knew that I was only thinking of our son, that he would take me back. But he said no. He said that he would never, ever marry me again. He told me that you attacked his boss and marrying you would ruin his career. I had no idea what he was talking about until I put it together that he had to be referring to you. So, this is all your fault. This is all part of your plan to ruin my life.
I'm sorry, but I was never doing anything like that, and I don't care about who you marry. You and your husband divorced for your own reasons. And from what I hear, it mostly had to do with you spending all the money your ex made. You were so greedy and selfish that he realized he just couldn't be with you anymore.
How dare you say that to me? You don't know what you're talking about. You need to learn some respect.
I really don't. In fact, this whole conversation is just silly. The next time you hear from it, it will be through my lawyer talking about our lawsuit.
You're going to be suing me?
For what? For breaking into a wedding that you weren't invited to and spraining my wrist! Now, goodbye. Apparently, Danny's selfishness and poor spending habits only worsened after her divorce. I found out later that she was swimming in debt from all of this. I think her approaching her husband was an attempt to find someone to pay her debts. She thought that if she could protect her son from his stalker, that he might take her back. It's just too bad she didn't realize that that stalker was her son's fiancé and ex's boss. The lawsuit proceeded and Danny was forced to pay for my injuries as well as the fee for the trespassing. I told her that I wouldn't cancel her legal fees if she agreed to sign a restraining order, and Danny realized she had no choice but to agree if she didn't want to go deeper into debt. She was also banned from contacting me ever again while Arnie blocked her on every medium he could think of. Things are back to business as usual, however, except that now Arnie and I are happily married.